Hey everyone, how are you? This is Elisan, the host and founder of this thriving, amazing Facebook group, The Spiritual Entrepreneurs, where I'm hosting 19,000 members of you from around the world, and I am still in Hong Kong. Alrighty, so today is PhiLOVESOULphy TV, which means I would be hanging out with you a little longer, and if you would like your personal card reading, I would flip a card for you specifically personalized to your message or to your situation. So today's topic is pretty interesting. We will be working on triggers for the rest of our life. As long as we live, we will be triggered and there will be triggers. If you are in the unconscious zone, you would feel like every trigger is an attack from the external source. It could be an external source, which means a person, situation. However, being unconscious and being triggered and giving your power away by blaming other people for your situation is not going to get you anywhere. I used to be a trigger party, and I used to have a trigger party all the time because I was unconscious, right? And I would react versus response. So today's topic is, what if working on your emotional triggers clears karma and closes the door to future hell? Do you like this topic? Well, I was brought up in a Catholic environment, and hell is very scary, right? Don't do bad things, God will be angry and God will punish you, and on the judgment day you'll be sent to hell. Um, that is a very, very old belief system, and if you actually study the history, you would actually know that this is a concept that is um, being taught down to the peasants because the rich and the elites wanted to control the people. However, in this day and time, we need to equip ourselves with information. I believe that superstitious is the result of the lack of information. So, being in an information overload era, we really have no excuse why we are not educating ourselves constantly. When I say educating, it doesn't mean you got to go enroll in a college program or degree or, do that. When I say educate yourself, you could mean like, consciously learning, consciously growing. Working on your triggers is constantly growing, is growth as well, and it beats any degree on earth. You can be as educated as you want to be, but until you understand life, the game of life, the rules of life, you would be sucked in the reality of the book, right? So, another thing I want to address is hell. Is there really such a thing as hell? Because if you do believe if there is such a thing as hell, then you will walk around life tipping toeing with a lot of fear. As the book The Course of Miracles said, we are either operating out of love and out of fear. And as you can see, my t-shirt today is good vibes. And if you have good vibes, means you are operating out of love. And so I invite you to think about this, right? Like, if God tells us not to judge our neighbor and God tells us to love, then why would He not set an example to us and for us? Those of us who are parents would understand what I mean, right? Then we become the spiritual hypocrite, right? Like, we say one thing and then we do something else. So God is not a spiritual hypocrite. Just because He's way up there doesn't mean that He has a different set of rules. So I invite you to really sit with this. Like, if God tells us not to judge, then why would He judge us? And He is someone who is advocating unconditional love. And the concept of hell is not a physical, literally, is a literal hell. Hell is a concept that's in our mind that we are torturing ourselves. So when I was doing, soul's work, past life regression, and the soul, I would regress back to the soul. And when we leave our bodies, all we do is walk into the light and go back to the realms of the souls, which is our soul, our house, right? Go back to source. So when we say hell, it's really the soul. In Catholic, we call it the purgatory, and the lost souls, right? And the lost souls would hang around us because of this concept of hell. Just because you have passed on will not make you any smarter. You carry on with your belief systems. So if you tap on to your spirit guides, that is your uncle, for example, who was a drunkard when he was alive, he may not give you a smarter advice just because he's gone. He You know what I mean, right? So if you tap into his energy that is now on earth, if you tap into his energy that has gone to the light, then you would be tapping into the divine's energy. Do you understand what I mean? It's a bit esoteric, but I hope you're getting it. Watch this again so that you get what I'm saying. So we are not as smart as we think we are because we have this ego and that resists us, prevents us from growing. So yesterday I talked about have you allowed yourself to go as far as you can go? So if you haven't, then that means there's something that you don't understand. Okay? So um there's so much information in my brain and I wish I could just say it all, but I'm going to make it as simple as possible for you. So when you leave your body and assuming you go to the path of light, you go to the light, you go back to the realms with your spirit guides and you have a council meeting with your soul, your guides, your collective, your councils. And then they would then assess what you have done and what you haven't done, not judging you, but it's just assessing it's like an exam. This plane, this earth is a school. So we came here to study, to learn, and take several exams, and then so exams comes in the form of tests, right? And so when you go there, it's like when you go and see your teacher, they give you feedback, right? So it's the same thing. So hell, it's a concept of fear. Hell is you not living your dreams. As Sharia May said, hell is you fearing of the what ifs. Hell is the regrets. Hell is you with all the mind chatter and separating yourself from the divine. That's hell. That is hell. Hell is the concept of separation. That is when you struggle and you feel like you're all alone. That is what's hell. That's what hell's all about. So when you pass on and you leave your body, and if you bind the concept of hell, like, oh my God, I'm a murderer, I did something bad, and this and that, and I'm so afraid to go to the light because of the fear of being punished, then you are going to roam around in this earth plane being the lost souls. So those ghost stories are really those lost souls afraid of going to the light, or maybe they don't even know that they are dead. So those of us who are light, or can feel them, just send them to the light. Just send them to the light. There's nothing to fear. Fear exists only when you have something that you don't understand. So that's when fear happens. Okay? So emotional triggers. What is an emotional trigger? I know you know what I'm talking about. Like I get triggered all the time, and if there's a period of time that I don't get triggered, I know something is not right. I'm not working on myself, and I need to get myself triggered. I know that sounds crazy, but triggers would happen. You don't have to go look for the triggers. It will happen if you are willing to work with it. So let's say you are conscious. I am conscious I have this thing, right? The need to be right. And I need to work on it. There's no judgment whether there's need to be liked, there's a fear of failing, there's a fear of success, there's a fear of being loved, whatever it is, there is no judgment because whatever that those triggers are, the main stories is exactly the theme why you came to earth to learn them. So if you are searching for your soul purpose or your life purpose, I invite you to work and look very closely at your emotional triggers. There usually is a common theme for it. And this is exactly where we will grow. All right. If you avoid those triggers, then you are avoiding growth. Triggers are painful. And like I said this, and I've said this before, when we reincarnated, we enter the veil of amnesia. So, you may be on the soul plane planning your soul's purpose and your mission and your lessons and whatever you want to do with your counsels. And the moment you reincarnate or incarnate, you forget your soul's purpose and your divine destiny and whatever that came with it, you forget because that is the journey. If you have remembered, if you do remember, then you will not have growth. Challenges will not present itself. You would just breeze through life, right? Of course, there are some people who has made the intention to breeze through life. However, if you're watching this, I know that you have been called to raise the level of consciousness with human's consciousness, raise the vibration. You've been called to help. You've been called to facilitate change. You've been called to help awaken these souls. You are a helper healer in your own divine right. So if you are watching this, know that perhaps you have forgotten your divine mission. And because the veil is also lifting, the veil is lifting, and you can see this very clearly. More and more information on spirituality is coming in as well. Much as we have a lot of information overload on marketing, startups, business, we also have an information overload on spiritual teachings. And more you will see spiritual teachers sprouting out. More and more you would see spiritual leaders sprouting out, because this is exactly why we've been called. There are 7 billion people on earth, and a lot of people, I would say at least 90%, are still unconscious. Just look at the American what's that voting thing now, right? And you see there are so many people with so much emotions, and I mean, it's like voting for the lesser evil one or voting for, I don't know, it's just so complicated. It's more than it meets its eye. However, as we are awakening, more and more people who are awakening would start to preach and talk about the truth and not buy into what other people are telling us. You must activate your own thinking mind and start processing for yourself. So I'm out of the system because I'm not American, but I'm observing it, and it's really interesting. It's an interesting process to watch, you know. And so I went on Facebook today and I saw this guy, I think Mike Rowe or something, his name, and he said something really, really brilliant. Don't vote for the sake of voting. Vote, voting is your right, but voting because someone else is telling you to vote without you even thinking, without you researching why you're voting in the first place, this empowers you. Okay? So I invite you to think everything that comes before you, conceptualize it within yourself. Think, think, think. You must teach yourself to think. You really, really do. Because otherwise, other people will think on your behalf, and that's not going to be too nice. So, to be honest, regardless of who comes into power, regardless of who becomes the president, you are still the director and creator of your life. You know, whatever it is, human beings are super adaptable, and regardless of whatever the situation is and the outcome, I strongly believe there is such a thing called divine intervention. And as Oprah said, whether you stay on path or make a U-turn or make a detour, at the end of the day, we all end up in the same path. And maybe this election is a detour to something even bigger. We don't know, right? Something that actually calls to raise our own level of consciousness and to invite us to really think about who we want to lead. If maybe this whoever that comes along is not leading, the world or America well, you have another opportunity to re-vote again in the next 4 years. But in the meantime, this is what it is. However, I believe all of us need to just make the intention everything happens for our highest good only. Then, Louis Hay said is everything that's happening to me, in everything that's happening in front of me is only for my highest good. Then regardless of what the result is, you detach yourself from the games. At the end of the day, this is really the game of the politicians. Why get yourself involved, right? Focus on the main thing, right? If your thing is not with the politicians, then focus on your daily life, changing lives one at a time, smiling to someone, regardless of what the situation is. You know what I mean? So be a decent human being. The, Remember your soul's purpose. At the end of the day, we are all here for one purpose, and that is to grow. And that is to grow. And the earth school is literally like it's literally like the Broadway of the soul. You get to pick and choose who you want to be and play that role out. So if you are in the victim mindset now, thinking life is happening to me, life is against me, I invite you to really take this opportunity to seize that opportunity, to seize what everyone else is talking about, that you are the creator of your life, and think about how you have contributed to this situation by disempowering yourself. So, although I teach some principles that I have learned and personally have processed, but I still invite you to not believe everything that I said. I invite you to actually go test out, to go live out your own truth. Everyone's spiritual truth is different, and you are right. You know, Nobody wants to be the bad person, but however, and I read another article, I can't remember her name, but it was shared by Carl Cease. And this lady, she wrote, like, everybody, whether you like it or not, has a tendency or has the potential to be a Donald Trump. And it might piss people off, like, oh, I don't want to be associated with him. It's true, he may not be as intelligent as most people would think. But we live in the society and we live in a world of duality. White must exist with the black, yin must exist with the yang, left must exist with what did I say? Left must exist with the right, top must exist with the bottom. So if we see the goodness inside of us, that means the dark side exists as well. As Carl Jung said, the dark side is really the unconscious mind, and it's the shadow. And all of us have this shadow that we cannot see. And so Carl Jung has a quote: until you make your unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So emotional triggers are sort of like your unconscious ready to break free and break through. So if you are at a space right now that you are going through a breaking down period, know that every breakdown is before a breakthrough. So if I congratulate you if you're going through a breakdown, because a breakthrough is on its way. Like I say, the problem must exist with the solution, the desire must also exist with the solution. A breakdown must exist with a breakthrough, because we live in the world of duality. So this is another concept. I'm going to digress. This is another concept that I've been talking about duality for such a long time, and within the word duality, there's a duality. There's an opposite of duality as well, which is unity. So how the reason why we come here and feel separated from God, and then learn to merge and learn about oneness. So, this is really strengthening our connection with the divine. Like, how do we know how good life is on the soul plane when we don't learn to separate from that and know what we are truly made up of, right? If you don't go through the bad times, how do you actually know you can actually make it? How do you know what you have inside of you? It's like a mother who has her baby caught under the car. She would use her every cell and every strength that she has in her body to push the car up to take the baby out. This is what happens when you are put to the test and put to the limit. And then you realize that, shit, I actually have this potential that wasn't been activated, that could actually lead me to the life that I say I want. But why do we want to wait till our baby is put under the car to put and have this extreme situation? However, desperate times calls for desperate measure. To be honest, we don't have a lot of time on earth. We think we do, but time and tide waits for no man. And we do have a clicker. Everybody has a timer. We just don't know when the timer will end. Even if you can live till 1,000, that's still a period of time, right? And most of us are taking time for granted. Like, oh, tomorrow I'll do it, and the tomorrow will never come. All of us, in fact, we are short of time. You will get older. You will get older and older and older, and that means if you continue to procrastinate, that means you are taking time away from you to actually live the life that you say you want to live, right? So stop procrastinating. And I truly and strongly believe emotional triggers are gold because all of us wants to be a better person. Nobody wakes up and then pray to God like make me a bad bad person and make me a meaner person today. Nobody says that. You know, we all pray to be a better person. We all pray to be able to use our gifts and talents to change the world. Like show me God, like use me. We are all ready to be the servant of God and to serve and so nobody prays, please let me be a better and better person. Nobody wants that. So the quickest and easiest way, instead of like, oh my God, what's my life purpose? What am I supposed to do? Look at your emotional triggers. What if you're not meant to change the world? The world doesn't need you to change. What if you don't need to do anything but work on yourself and work on your emotional triggers, and through that you raise your own vibration? See, regardless of whatever it is, there is this law that is called the law of cause and effect. And some people call it the karma. And a lot of us are really afraid of karma because we don't want to go to hell. And karma is really, really bad. And we all know you play drama, you get karma. So if you actually understand what karma is the law of cause and effect. Can I repeat it again? Karma is the law of cause and effect, which means what you give out is what you're going to receive at the end of the day, right? Just a matter of time. But nobody is excused from the law, the cycle of karma, the law of the cycle of karma, the wheel of karma, they call it. The Buddhists call it the wheel of karma. Nobody is excused from the wheel of karma. And many of us have actually heard of the oneness. And so I've said this before, and perhaps you may not have heard it, so I'm going to talk about this again. This is a concept introduced to me by my friend. And why we talk about oneness? Because oneness means we're all part of the one thing, right? We're all one. However, with the physical eye would lie to you and tell you that we are all separated because you cannot associate yourself with the murderers or somebody that you judge. So that's the concept of separation. And yet we understand, no, we may not understand, but we know, we we cognitively know the meaning of oneness until we fully experience it. The moment you judge somebody when I say judge, it's not like, oh, I don't think I can do business with you because you're giving me a bad vibe. It's not a kind of judgment, but judging that says like, oh, she's such a bitch, like she's so unconscious. The moment you judge someone negatively in that way, you you have taken yourself out of oneness and you have separated yourself. So this is something that Wayne Dyer teaches, and there's this dude, what's his name? I can't remember his name, the dude that wrote I am that I am, right? Like I am that I am is part of the oneness. I am that I am. And Neil Donald Walsh talks about this as well. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. You can associate yourself with everything on earth when you say I am that I am. I am that I am, and that brings up your compassionate heart. Then there is no idea of separation. When you feel like you are separated from the source, then the ego would kick in and tell you that you're not meant to do this. Who do you think you are? Your gifts are not good enough. You are not good enough. You're not pretty enough. Da, 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 da. So when that happens, the ego kicks in and separate you from the divine. And so we fear God because we are afraid that he will punish us and he's so perfect and we are imperfect. So who am I to ask whatever that I need from God? Who am I to for him to give me and bless me with everything that I desire because I'm a sinner? And I love this quote that I read from Yogananda. He says, all saints are sinners who never gave up. All saints are sinners who never gave up. So who's the judge that we have sinned? So if you know the truth that we are all soul, we are physical body with a soul living a story here, living our mission and learning something, then there's no sin because there is no right and there's no wrong in the first place. You got that? So because we are a human being with emotions and triggers and past experiences, that we have self-taught ourselves and not to feel certain things. We have the shadow part of ourselves, and that's why the emotions, the emotional triggers, are in the shadow. And so let's just say you have made an intention that I want to go to the next level. Be prepared. Brace yourself, all right, for lots of emotional triggers to happen. I want you to know that emotional triggers are not the enemy. It's really not. Your emotional triggers are your friend. It is your friend because you have made the intention. And like all intention and with all desire for growth, it may not always come in a box of chocolate with a red bow. Sometimes it comes with challenges, with shit hitting the fan. So you have made the declaration, you have made the intention for growth. You want to go to the next level. It may not be pretty, and don't expect it to be pretty. And then these emotional triggers would start to happen to show you exactly where you are stuck, show you your so called blockages, heal it, transform it, so that you can be a better leader and vibrating at the level of love so that you can attract more goodies to your life. At the end of the day, we are all vibrational beings. We carry a vibration. We have a vibration. So those emotional triggers are showing you where to work vibrationally so that you can let go of it and go to the next level. And by that, you actually clear your own karma because you are learning your lessons. What is so called karma is just lessons that are unlearned. You know, it's a boomerang, right? And so going back to the oneness, I haven't actually told you about that, is everything is just one. And when you slap other people, and why karma comes back to you, because in the universe there's only you. So you right now, I am you and you are me. We are just, you know, different parts of God, like the soul's energy, living separate lives. So this idea of separation exists. However, if you know, have you seen the lava lamps? You know, it drops, 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 and then towards the end, it goes back to this one big ball. So are we separated or are we actually one big ball? Think about this. So when we are here, we think we are separated. But when we go back to this one collective ball, we are one. So we are the same. We are not as different as we think we are. So whatever that you judge other people, I invite you to consider that's what you're judging yourself. And so how you treat other people is also a reflection of how you are treating yourself, right? So that's becoming more and more consciously aware of your emotions and yourself and personal development. Personal development is not about going to seminars and just watching those workshops or reading books. It's actually taking time out to evaluate and go through those emotional triggers because they are gold. So when you are just one and you do bad things to other people, of course it's gonna come back and slap you. So that's what karma is all about. Karma is just all about oneness as well. All right. So if you want to clear karma, work on your triggers. I actually never thought about this. This concept is taught to me by, um, you know what the lady monk name? What's her name? Pema, Pema, right? Pema Chodron. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, but I listened to her and it's like, oh my god, I am more excited on working on my emotional triggers now because I definitely want to clear my karma. Should I decide to come back again next life, I don't have so much karma that I need to clear, you know? So, and we all know that time is accelerating. Really, it's instant karma. You don't have to wait till 3 years or three lifetimes for the karma to hit you back. It will hit you back right away. But the good news is the opposite is also true. We have instant manifestation, right? So work your karma through your emotional triggers. And like I say, you know, all the struggles is the concept of hell, right? As long as we feel the pain, as long as we feel like life is happening to us, as long as we feel we are the victim, it is hell. You don't need to go to like hell physically and be burned there and be with the Satan. I believe Satan is just the ego, like the mind, telling us that you are not good enough. That's the Satan that the Bible is talking about, not the real physical Satan, right? It's just a figure of speech. So hell is when you don't live your life. Hell is when you tolerate. Hell is when you struggle unnecessary. Hell is when you don't give yourself a chance to experience life. Hell is when you don't experience love. So hell is right here on earth for you if you are going through shit, and it doesn't have to be. So work on your emotional triggers, and all doors to future hell will close, and only doors of love, because when you change yourself, your perception and your projection changes as well. So if you are seeing the world through your eyes, like it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's negative, there's no good person out there, I can't trust anybody, then that's your projection of how you see the world, and that's your philosophy of life. And when you change your philosophy of life, everything changes, because everything is neutral. Literally, everything is neutral. Just like this color, it's green. Somebody somewhere out there has agreed to call this color green, and so it has been agreed upon. If another 7 billion people decided that this is not green, is called kajinga, some color, then from that onwards it's going to be called kajinga. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we get to choose your battles, as Joel Osteen will say. Choose your battles wisely, and the emotional triggers are what you need to work on. When I say choose the battles, don't go attack someone else. Thank them, in fact, for bringing you this awareness that you have something to work on. And as I say this, I am and have to work on my own emotional triggers as well. And because we allow life to take us through, like, oh, the necessity of life, like, oh, gotta pick our kids, gotta do this, do the laundry, wash the car, and da 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 da, and it takes us away from the time that we actually work on ourselves. You actually need to create a sanctuary, a spiritual sanctuary, a space to actually work on yourself. All right, so I have created a free course. It's called the spiritual sanity. We all need some kind of sanity. Einstein has said the definition of insanity is doing something over and over and over again and expect a different set of results, right? So you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect a different set of results. Basically, that's it. So go to eliseann.com/sanity and get your free course. It's a 3-day course where I show you exactly how to create that space for yourself. It's sacred. It's very sacred, and it's spiritual. So don't ever think that this is selfish. You have to be selfish before you can be selfless. You can't give what you don't have. Alrighty, so if you are watching the replay, I invite you to leave me a comment and let me know what you think about this topic: karma, emotional triggers, hell. What's your belief system? And belief system is basically thoughts that you keep repeating yourself, and that became your philosophy, PhiLOVESOULphy. And Jim Rohn once said, if you change your philosophy, your income and life will change. So can you imagine if you change your philosophy, everything, your DNA, your karma, your ancestral karma, whatever, everything will start to shift. And it begins with you. So start minding your own business and just work on yourself, work on your mindset, because really our mindset is the only thing that is holding us back. There is no difference from the successful people who have everything and us. There is no difference. It's just how they think, how they behave, and us living stingily and in a lack mentality. So open up, and that lack mentality is so unnecessary. All right, so sending you good vibes. And if you are watching, if you would like a card, let me know. Otherwise, as usual, I would pick a card for the group. This week has been a little bit topsy-turvy because I'm now in Hong Kong, so the regular usual schedule is a bit messed up. But nonetheless, I am making an effort to spend time with you, because I really, really do love these sessions with you. And I love to share what I've discovered. It's not the Bible. Whatever I say is not the Bible. Go use your own discretion, use your own intelligence to decide that for yourself. All right. So you can catch up all the readings on my website elisan.com. All right. So here we go. Okay. So what's coming to me is too much fear. There is too much fear held in our body. So yesterday I had this stiff neck and I really needed a massage. So I booked the massage and the masseuse came to my body and it came to my house. I came to my room, came to my body. What am I talking about? It's not spirit attachment, but she came to my room and she gave me a massage that was like, oh my god, this technique is so new. I have not experienced this before. And I was screaming in the middle of the massage. That was how painful it was. All right. It's not like the usual Bali massage, Thai massage, where it's nice and gentle. This is like really, really hard. And she says, your muscles are so tight, you have to release them. And I woke up with bruises on my thighs. And I'm like, halfway through the massage, I'm like, I need to give up. So that also tells me that I've got a lot of negativity stored in my body and it needs to be released, and the birthing process is painful. And so what I'm feeling and what I'm getting is the fear is stored in your body. So the first step to working with your emotional triggers is work on your body first, because that's really where your body is, where your energy and your emotions are stored. Like people who have put on emotional weight like myself, we that emotional weight is stored on our bodies. So the body will get the first hit. If you are upset, you don't eat, the body loses weight, or if you have emotional weight, even if you don't eat, the body balloons up to protect you. So everything is stored in our body. Stored. It's unfair, I guess, but we don't know any better. So now you know better. Go take care of your body. Go for a massage. Release those energies out. Go for a physical healing, like Reiki healing, angel healing, or whatever healing that you need. Just heal that body first. Because the body, although we want to be in the fifth dimension and the 12th dimension, but our body is right here now on the third dimension. And in order for your body to go up and raise its vibration, you have to lighten its load. So the quickest way, if you like massage and if you allow someone to touch your body, and I feel this is the most enjoyable way, sometimes it's painful, but it's relaxing, is the massage. I feel painful because of the bruises, but I literally feel very light now. Like the stiff neck is gone. It's just super, and it feels good. It really, really does. It feels good. And then now with this body on your side as well, and then you can go and work on your emotional triggers. As long as your body is on your side, there will be no battles that you cannot fight. All right. So you need your body to come along with you. So when I get the message, too much fear is stored in your heart. Too much fear is stored in your solar plexus. Too much fear is stored in your root chakra, which relates to money. The solar plexus relates to personal power. The sacral chakra relates to, like maybe addictions or whatever. A lot of times as women, we store in these directions. So learn to protect yourself. Learn to protect yourself. Protect your chakras. Protect your personal power, and release the fear and transform it. See it transform, right? But send it to the violet flame, and transform it, and or just invite the angels to come and take it away, because you don't want to give out fear and have someone be attached to the fear. That's not raising the level of vibration. All right, so too much fear, work on this fear, and the only way to get rid of the fear is to understand where it came from. You can't just crush it and throw it in the bin. Understand where the fear came from. It's usually from a childhood experience, or write them all out. And if there's a situation that you think it's so scary, I invite you to actually walk to it and walk through it. All right, and that's the only way you can actually understand your fear and get rid of it. All right, so Alrighty. Goddess of psychic protection. What you believe you create. No one can harm you. This is exactly what I talked about today. Almost. But the message is quite there. Is you create your reality. So karma is a reality that you have created yourself. So as Gandhi said, be the person, be the change you want to see in the world. So be the person you want to attract. And accept every characteristics of yourself, be good or bad, because that is you. All right. So psychic protection. All right. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching the replay. And I would be leaving Hong Kong tomorrow, so I would do my best to slot in the morning to do a reading for you. So do come back again tomorrow in the group. All right. So if you've enjoyed this, share it with your friends. And yesterday in the School of Philosophy, we talked about the four bodies. Why four bodies are very important for your manifestation process. So do go check it out if you're interested to raise your own level of consciousness, human consciousness, be a new human being for the new earth, and to seek your own spiritual truth. So that school is for people who want to do that. So go to EliseN.com/the school if you are interested. Alrighty, so I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my day in Hong Kong. Today's the last day here, and talk to you soon. Alright, love you all. Bye bye.